It's a bird. It's a plane. It's the return of my adventures with Superman. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with Season 2, Episode 1 of My Adventures with Superman. This series has been long awaited to return, and I'm excited. I really enjoyed the first season, and since I had originally watched it and everything, I've seen it multiple more times. And so I'm more or less caught up on what happened. I still remember, for the most part, everything that occurred. And the notable cliffhanger that it left us off on with the credits scene showing who appeared to be General Zod with Brainiac. So that's pretty interesting. But there's a lot of things that have been set up in season one, and this is probably my favorite Superman story so far, if I'm being completely honest here. Like, I've seen a lot of animations, I've read a couple comics here and there, and I know of many stories. And this is probably my favorite interpretation, and not just because Jack Quaid plays Clark slash Superman slash Jor-El, whatever you want to call him, or Kal-El. Jor-El's his father. Kal-El is Superman, but it's not because of that, and it's not just because of like Lois Lane, even though she's awesome. It's because this interpretation, for lack of a better way of putting it, feels more human. It feels like this is more real. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of interpretations of Superman that feel very human, that feel like they're very much focusing on Superman's like humanity and everything, but this does more than just focus on how much humanity he has. It feels like he's a regular person. And a lot of times you don't get that as much as I feel like you should. Like, even when they're trying to, a lot of times he just feels so special and everything. And I think part of the reason is, like, pretty much every interpretation of him, even when he's as Clark Kent, he's just like portrayed as like this unreasonably attractive buff guy, and he's like that in this too, mind you. Like, this version of Superman is definitely extremely attractive, extremely buff, but maybe it's because it's animation and he doesn't have like the like weirdly misshapen body, for lack of a better way to put it. Okay, let's put it this way. In a lot of Superman animation, his body is basically a cone, an upside, well, not actually upside down, I guess, but like I guess an ice cream cone. Let's just say that. This is the weirdest tangent I'm gonna go on, but hear me out. His shoulders are so wide that his body like does a cone shape in how he's shown. It doesn't feel natural. And again, he looks like that when he's Clark Kent too. It's just a different outfit basically. But in this version, his proportions feel more real. And on top of just physical realism that just makes him feel more, again, human, you also have the aspect that personality-wise, he feels more like a regular person. In a lot of these movies and shows and whatnot, even when he's Clark Kent, it feels like he's still the same guy but putting on a persona in a way. In this, I'm not wording this correctly, am I? I apologize for like my poor explanation skills. um I'm saying though that in a lot of these interpretations, Clark Kent and Superman feel like they're the same guy, but also feel a little too different. Because Superman has like exceptional confidence, exceptional awareness and everything, and he's just like fully put together. While the Clark Kent persona is a little too goofy and nerdy sometimes, where it's like it just doesn't feel like it feels like it's the same person, like he's putting on an act, like he's pretending to be someone else rather than actually feeling like someone else. And that's my issue, because and it feels like the Superman persona is the main persona, which I also think should not be the case. It feels like the Superman persona is how he really is, and the Clark Kent persona is like an act that he puts on to hide himself. When it's like the only hero who that kind of thing really works with is Batman. Um, but here in this series, Clark Kent is definitely the main personality. He's one, most of what you get, and two, definitely feels like his natural state. While Superman is more him, again, trying to put on like this act, but it's also very clearly meant to be that. It's very clearly shown to be him putting on an act, pretending to be someone he's not, because he's new to this. This is a brand new thing to him, and he doesn't know exactly how to act to differentiate himself from normal. So it's like, again, it's obvious that they're the same person, but it feels more intentional. It feels like it's not an accident in the writing and character work. If that makes any sense. Again, I apologize for my terrible explanation skills, but that's kind of what it feels like to me. It just feels a lot more forced and fake normally, and in this version it feels more genuine. It feels more like he's just a guy trying to get by. And you just don't get that enough, I feel, with Superman stories. Basically, okay, here's a good way to put it. Normally Superman and slash Clark Kent feels like Superman. This Superman feels more like Spider-Man. And that is like the highest praise. Because Spider-Man's my favorite Marvel hero, and personality, character, depth-wise, his attitude and everything is the reason why. Well, a major reason at least. So saying that is a very positive thing. But I hope that makes sense. Normally Superman feels like Superman. He feels like this bigger than thou hero. But here he feels like Spider-Man, this kind of like almost street level, um, just very relatable, likable hero. And I just think the writing with this has just nailed that in a way that I don't think I've ever seen before. But the point of this entire tangent was just to say that I think this is my favorite interpretation of Superman. And I mean, the same can go for like other characters in this, like Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane and stuff, but just in terms of just the general sense of it, too. Um, and the first season was very good, had a lot of great setups, like I said, bringing in Waller and the General, who's Lois's father and everything, Deathstroke. Um, and a lot of other big setups. You had Mr. Mixelpidalic, or Mixes Pidalic. I always get that. Is it Mixel or Mixes? I think it's Mixes. Mxyzptlk. Either way. Um, you have the Kryptonian technology being a major factor. You have Parasite being a major player in the season. And his goon Alex, who we know who that is. Let's be honest, because it's not really subtle. But a lot of interesting setups, and I wonder like exactly what they're going to do with this season, because there's still a lot more that could be done. I wonder if we'll get a Metallo at all. That would be fun. The Kryptonite Heart could be interesting to bring into play here. Um, I don't know how big the scale of this season is going to be compared to the first, but I would hope that it gets bigger. And I'm just excited to see more of the dynamic between these characters because it's great. Um, this is just going to be fun, and luckily I haven't been spoiled on it. Luckily, I have not heard any spoilers for this so far, even though it's been like what almost a week since it came out, and the first two episodes I think came out at the same time. So I really have avoided spoilers. And I have seen some people talking about it, so it's not like it's just gone completely under the radar. People have been talking about it. It's just anytime I see something that's like, oh, this is for My Adventures with Superman, I avoid it like the plague. Um, but yeah, I'm very interested to see where this goes. So we're gonna get this started, but before we do, I do want to let you all know and remind you all that we have a lot of awesome content to check out on this channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of great series reactions. And on Mondays, we also do YouTube, or at least YouTube adjacent reactions as well. Shorts, specials, mini series that just don't have a lot of episodes at all. Anything that doesn't quite fit into the scope of a full series reaction or a movie reaction goes in this slot. And speaking of movie reactions, we have those every Saturday and Sunday. I record them previously in the week, but I upload them on the weekends so that every day has something going on for it. And we also have a couple of Let's Plays currently going on the channel. Every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, we put up Spider-Man 2. And just anyone getting into it newly, just as a warning, the first 9 parts do have some audio issues. So be warned about that, especially parts 5 through 9. But starting on part 10 and onward, which will be most of the Let's Play, the audio issues are fixed. We're also playing through Anno Mutationum on Saturdays. And this is a donation reward Let's Play for Matthew Vasquez. If you wish to know how to donate for a PS5 Let's Play in the future, all you have to do is check out one of a couple videos on the channel. The most obvious to that, the most relevant currently, would be the June Double Reward Month announcement video. The title of the video also mentions PS5 game rewards and all. So if you do a channel search and just look up June Double Reward Month and add PS5 in there, you should find it without an issue. And it will tell you everything you need to know about how to donate for a PS5 Let's Play. But that all being said, thank you as always so much for tuning in. And for now, yeah, I'm Connie. Why am I trying to give the wrong sign off? I do that more often than you would think. For now, though, I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I like how coy they tried to play, even though everyone had already known, like, that Alex was Lex. It's like, this isn't, like, a surprise. Like, they tried to play coy with it, tried to, like, have it like, oh, he starts to say his name but gets interrupted and everything. It's like, we know what he was gonna say. Also, it doesn't help that the trailer all kind of revealed it already anyway. But everybody had guessed this in season one, so it's not a surprise. Everybody figured that he was Lex Luthor. Um, but yeah, interesting that Jimmy kind of gave him a little push there. Um, so right off the bat, we get the revelation that Kara Zor-El is going to be part of this season. And again, this was in the trailer. We saw Supergirl in the trailer, so no real surprise there. But at the same time, this is really cool to see. Because it's like we got the hint at the end of the last episode of Zod, and now we're getting Kara as well. And interestingly, Jor-El didn't seem to know about Zod's survival, which I think Zod's survival is usually, like, I wouldn't say secret, but not really expected, so that makes sense. But we see the setups for this, and also we have setups for another storyline with Clark and Lois going to rescue Sam because he's been held prisoner, it seems, by Waller after she's taken over as the new general. So that's something we have to deal with. Now at the end there, the ship in the Arctic kind of became the Fortress of Solitude, right? That's what I was getting from that. That's what that's supposed to be, right? Um, that's kind of what it looked like it was supposed to be to me, at least. So that's pretty interesting. Though with the kryptonite still taking over, how is that really going to help unless we find a way to get rid of that? Um, Now, one big question I have is, could Kara already be on Earth? I'm not like the most knowledgeable about a lot of the lore from the comics and stuff, especially since, let's be honest, the lore changes. Um, but in a lot of iterations, I think, and I might be wrong here, so take this as you will, but I think that Kara is like comes to Earth during the course of the her introduction. She comes to Earth. She wasn't like raised on Earth, I think. Usually. Now again, the comics and everything changed the origin story and everything surrounding that a lot. That's just a very common comic thing. Continuities are reset constantly. Um, but most of this seems to be playing very similarly to just the most standard, typical Superman story in terms of the fall of Krypton and whatnot. So I guess we'll see. She might already be on Earth. That would be helpful, I guess. Um, we also got this recurring thing throughout this episode. We see it like 2 or 3 times, where it's like Jimmy is making these irresponsible spending decisions because he's rich. He got his wealth after selling Flamebird to the Daily Planets, which he is working with still. He is still working on Flamebird for them, even if he's missing deadlines. Um, but yeah, he's dealing with that and spending his money very frivolously on just anything, just because he has it. And like I said in the reaction, there are people who will do this, who will like get rich via lottery or whatnot, and they'll just start spending frivolously. It's like I have the money, so why not? I can buy this stuff. Why wouldn't I? But the problem with this line of logic is that you do that and your money's going to go bye-bye quickly. And before you know it, you're going to be left like with nothing. This is actually a very common thing that happens with lottery winners. Like, they spend their money so quickly on all this like fancy stuff, new house, new car, etc., that within like a couple years they're practically broke again because they don't spend it wisely. They don't save a lot of the money. They don't invest it and whatnot. It's like, don't get me wrong, like using the money for some things, for fun or for, just because you can, is fine as long as you do it wisely enough to where you're not just spending all of it like that. Like, if I won $1 million, I would absolutely use some of that on stuff like video games and probably a better computer and stuff like that. Go to conventions, etc. But I wouldn't use all of it on that. I would put a lot of it away and use a lot of it for things that I also need, not just want, and so on and so forth. I would try to budget it out at the very least because I wouldn't want it to go too quickly. I mean, just kind of makes sense when you think about it. So, Jimmy is just not doing well with that. And considering the fact that it actively shows a counter for his money going down, again, multiple times in this episode, it's not just a one-time gag. It very much makes me believe that by the end of the season, he's going to be broke again. He's just going to spend super frivolously just because he can. And I mean, we saw him literally doing that in this episode. He buys these overly expensive Valentine cards to give to people. He gets a plane for them to go to Antarctica and stuff. And it's just like, my dude. This was just not really smart. But this episode did continue off of the last season while also doing some good setups very well. I also do like how Clark and Jor-El finally got to actually speak with the translator coming in clutch. It really allowed Jor-El's memory, I guess, to get some closure, while Clark also got quite a bit of closure and just relief from finally getting to know shit. He finally got to learn a lot more and actually, talk to the memory of his father. And it's just like, that's probably the best case scenario, honestly. Like, it wasn't going to last forever, but it was good while it did. This was really good. This was a good start. Did some good setups well. Now, like I said, I know we saw Supergirl in the trailer, and as Supergirl, by the way. So I'm wondering how long into the season it's going to take before Kara arrives. I mean, we know she is going to be Supergirl within the season, but I'm very curious about like how long it's going to take. I also don't know how many episodes it's going to be. Is it going to be the same as last time? Is it going to be a little longer? I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, this was a strong start. I'm glad to be back to this series. And hopefully it ends up being just as good, if not better, than the last one. So tell me your thoughts down below. And before we close out, I want to remind you all that we have a lot of other great content on this channel to check out as well. Every Monday through Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions. And on Mondays, we also do YouTube reactions, or at least YouTube adjacent. Anything that doesn't quite fit in as a regular series or movie reaction. And speaking of movie reactions, we have those every Saturday and Sunday. I record them early in the week, but they're uploaded on the weekends so that every day has something going on. We also have a couple Let's Play series. We do Spider-Man 2 every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And we have Anno Mutationum every Saturday. Anno Mutationum is a donation reward Let's Play for Matthew Vasquez. If you want to know how to engage in that and donate for a Let's Play for the future on the PS5, all you have to do is search up on the channel a video that has PS5 in the title, but also has June Double Reward Month in the title. This is the most up-to-date video that will give you all the information you need regarding how to work these donations. Or you could just ask me in the comments below or on a direct message on Discord. Whatever works the best for you. In the meantime, though, thank you all so much for tuning in, as always. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.